Thanks for joining me. I don't know that you saw the last session I did at last E2E. Was anyone in that session? It was one of the similar sort of lines. You were there. Anyone seen the videos? Oh no, that's right. Alex forgot to record that session. Yeah. As video sponsors for E2E, Alex forgot to record one session that was ours. So he asked me to come back and do this again. I wasn't planning on doing this, I was planning on doing something else.
Still, you got a funny story out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it gets a bit better. Yeah.
I had a fire alarm.
I'm sure it could be arranged. So, you know, I just want to give you a bit of feeling. You might have seen this. A few things have changed since the last time I did it, so I've had sort of 4 days to quickly do an update to this, so apologies for that. So why am I stood up here doing this? And again, I ask myself the same question quite regularly. As sponsors, we decided we need to give something back to the community. Okay. As someone who deals a lot with the RES products, I get asked a lot about why would I choose RES? Why wouldn't I choose RES? Why would I choose Absence? Why wouldn't I choose any other product? Okay. So what you see here, hopefully, is a kind of a fairly open and honest conversation about what is included, what isn't included, what's good, what's bad about each of the products, okay, or how some products are better in some respects. I've added a few extra products, there have been some changes since the last time. So that's what we're going to go through, and to begin with, just one little disclaimer, and I hope you can read that and you're fine with that. Basically, don't believe anything I say. No, I jest. Obviously, the views that are included in here are my personal views. I have consulted some people from the community. Unfortunately, I don't think some of some people like Aaron and such have ratified some of these findings. Okay. I would say if there's anyone from RES or Absence in the room, they might not like to hear what I'm going to say, but I don't think they're here. Resident and Masterclass and Absence aren't here, I don't believe. Okay.
Free and clear.
Yeah, I'm clear for the moment. Okay. So just quick focus on the UEM Smackdown. Who's heard of the UEM Smackdown? Okay. Fantastic document from the likes of Ruben, and I know Aaron Parker's had a lot of input in this. There's been no update since January 2012. Okay. Unfortunately, from our customers' perspective, I guess you could say, is the fact that, you know, it's a lot of ticks. Okay, I don't know. I know Nathan's in the room. He counted the ticks, and he got up at about 400 or something for one of the products. So, you know, there's a lot of unanswered questions. It asks, you know, you end up actually, what do I want from a UEM product? And obviously, this document can't tell you that. Okay, but it is a comparison between Absence, which is obviously listed as a full-featured UEM product, and RES Workspace Manager. Okay, from Res. Okay, so you know we're going to look at various features and you know how they're different, as opposed to which one's best or not, because obviously each one's different for your own customers, etc. Okay. So, what's changed since UEM Smackdown was released in 2012? Okay, well this is the big one. Microsoft UEV came out yesterday, Wednesday. Part of MDOT, obviously big changes to V5 as well. So how does UEV change the landscape from a UEM perspective? Liquidware Labs have also had some big enhancements to their Profile Unity product. Okay. As well as Immediate, they changed their Flex Profiles product to Flex Plus now, and delivering some more of the kind of personalisation features. And Pierre's not here, but obviously you got the UEM. Okay, he's made some huge strides with his V2 release recently. Okay, from a UEM Smackdown point of view, it doesn't change the top two, in my opinion. I'm assuming that there'll be an update from PQR at some point. Okay. So, how do I fit into all of this? Okay, so I've been dealing with UEM products for many, many years. Been dealing with SBC, hosted terminal server, Citrix applications, VDI, fact in desktops. Okay, my first dealings with Absence were way back before Absence was formed, before they spun out of Bystorm.
Yeah, Bystorm.
Yeah, so, you know, dealing with that, you know, application manager, performance manager back then. And a bit of a sales spill, apparently I'm allowed to as a sponsor. We developed the Virtualization Toolkit, which is all about helping you migrate from things like logon scripts and group policies and migrate those settings into a UEM product of choice, whether that's RES, Workspace Manager, whether that's Absence, okay, or any of the other products, and for managing things like mandatory profiles and local profiles and stuff. Okay, so that's a free tool you can download if you're looking at deploying any UEM solution. Okay, and we also provide the free demo showcase. At the moment, it's just for RES products, so it's a pre-canned demonstration, POC, evaluation environment. You can go and have a look and play with the RES products, you know, and it's available in sort of 5–10 minutes upon request. Okay. We're looking at expanding that. I don't think Absence are too keen. They've got their own way that they perform their proof of concepts. Okay.
Do you think the vendors will be keen?
Between you, me and the gatepost and everybody in the room and the video.
That's all right. That
narrows it down. We are developing this platform, and I was planning on doing something around that because we are in the process of migrating to Amazon and the whole things that come with that. We currently run, you know, Zen Desktop and Zen Server, our platform, but we're limited, or not limited, but in terms of hardware investment to scale this to other ISVs potentially. You know, it's great for, you know, providing quick proof of concepts and evaluations of products, without having to download and install and all that kind of stuff. So we're working on migrating to Amazon at the moment, so we can deliver that worldwide. Okay.
Why Amazon rather than Azure? Just, I realise that's a topic slightly.
Because it was easier for us to migrate to Amazon because we already had some Amazon services.
Right.
And yeah, there is no reason why you could go to Azure.
All right. I wondered if there was some specific feature in Amazon that had made that the choice, but if it was we were already doing it, it was easier. That's quite valid as well. It's not like a technical.
Yeah. So we're already coding against the APIs.
Yeah. Save pissing about.
Okay. So let's crack on. So Absence in the green corner. Okay. Bear in mind this slide is 6 months out of date. Oh my god, it's a bit washed out. That.
That's a horrible slide.
Well, it looks better if
it's the projector.
It's the projector. It's very, very.
I like the contrast.
Yeah, you do. Well, the orange one might be even worse. So Absence is a company founded in 1999. You know, revenues of circa 100 million now. I think their last physical year end was back in June, I think. And you know, they're doing turnover of about 100 million, or revenues of 100 million. Okay. 10 global offices, circa 450, 500 employees worldwide.
Minus Harry.
Minus Harry, yeah. I think he counted for more than one employee, didn't he? Maybe.
Salary or salary?
Probably. And they've experienced 50% year-on-year growth. Okay. And in contrast, RES, oh, it didn't do too bad actually. Okay. Again, founded in 1999. Obviously, these figures are sort of 6 months out of date, but they're, you know, roughly, if you look at those down here, half the size of Absence from a company infrastructure point of view. Yeah, and revenues. But one thing, I think this says it all. You know, we're comparing apples and oranges.
It's more like a line.
No, well, no, it's an orange apple and a green orange.
Oh, I see.
Subliminal messaging. So it's, you know, it's apples and oranges. You know, that as companies, I think they're diverging. If you look back to Absence's roots, obviously they came from the application manager and performance management perspective. And EM, so environment manager, came afterwards. And now they've got the data now and the mobile now. So you could say that Absence are, you know, maybe competing more in Citrix's space with the storefront enterprise and the app delivery and app management. Okay. Whereas from an RES perspective, They seem to be focusing more on the automation piece and maybe, fighting Microsoft in the SCCM camp. I think both of them have realised that potentially the UEM place has become crowded and over time it's going to become commodity.
Do you think crowded, or do you think there's just never going to be the market growth that they want to sustain? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
crowded in a marketplace of two, really, isn't really crowded.
Yeah, we've got the likes of Profile Unity from Liquidware coming up, UEM, a price point is coming up, and a lot of it's going to be.
There's the thing, I think, the price point can't sustain it.
Yeah. But undeniably, them as two different companies are going in different directions.
Yeah.
They still compete head to head in the UEM workspace. Okay. So the primary difference that I think exists between the two products as a whole is this notion of user virtualization. You notice the Z in there, from the UK. It pained me, but it made it in absence refer to it with a Z. So there we go.
You didn't use a Z in user, though.
Very clever. Virtualizationism. Okay. I might use the word woolification.
Virtualization.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Absence coined the phrase user virtualization. I don't like that term, user virtualization. I understand why they do it. By definition, when you virtualize something, you take a physical representation of that and you abstract it, provide a higher abstraction of it. You can't really do that with the user, but what they're on about is extracting the user's personalization, from a desktop operating system. So lifting it from the user's profile, so that it can apply anywhere. Now, RES use the term virtualization. I guess if you can't beat them, join them. But what RES do is they don't virtualize the user in the way that Absence do. So from a viewpoint of user virtualization, what is it? And the way that Absence works is we have our application process, and when an application process is launched, we attach, now let me get this right, the profile virtualization component, is attached to the process, which then reads from the PVC, so it reads from the personal virtual cache, genius, marketing its worst for you, So depending on the user's policy that's applied, and there's an EM policy personalization server out here. So depending on whether my application, I'm configured to virtualize, I'm not excluding any redirects for user registry or user file system. They get stored in a personal virtual cache and then persisted out to an SQL server, effectively the environment management personalization server. If I have exclusions configured, then I can fall these, I can fall through to the file system or the registry. Yeah, fairly straightforward. Big difference between the two products. What happens with an AppV process? So this is AppV 4.6, 4.5, 4.2. Let's see, AppV 5 has just come out, so we've not seen I've not seen their implementation yet. So when an AppV process is launched, again, the profile virtualization component is attached to that process, and all read and writes are redirected, into my personal virtual cache, which is then persisted out to my personalization service. Unless configured to do so, obviously it will fall through to the virtual file system, virtual registry, and then again, obviously you can exclude that and make it fall through to the physical. So the way that they're virtualizing it is the virtualization component is redirecting all reads and writes to the user's profile and the user's HKey current user registry hive. So how does RES do it? Well, it's a lot simpler for a start. So the application process launches. All reads and writes to the file system and registry are written there. When a user closes the application, or when a user logs off potentially, then the workspace composer is running. Extract those those settings from the virtual file, from the physical file system or the physical registry and persist them on a file share. From an AppV perspective, it works in pretty much the same way. So, reads and writes to the file system registry are written into the PKG file, so into the AppV bubble. Okay, if they are configured to do so, they will fall through to the physical registry and file system, but the workspace composer will capture that PKG file and persist it on a file share. So when the user session starts up, RES Workspace Manager will then put those things back in the physical registry.
So would you call that? Would you really call that virtualization?
No, that's not, but it's RES because AppSense
AppSense are nearly there.
AppSense are nearly there, but what RES is doing is nowhere near virtualization. Okay. The beauty of AppSense is if I upgrade my AppV package, sorry, not if I upgrade, if I deploy a new AppV package, so I resequence an application, and it's not based upon my original package, then the fact that things are redirected here doesn't matter what's in the, what's in the PKG is irrelevant to me as a user. My Office application settings all persisted out here. If I deploy a new version of Office, there's a new PKG, then AppSense will deal with that. Okay, RES won't. It won't. Not effectively. Not if my settings are in here. Okay. From an RES perspective, if you want to do something like that, you've got to configure your AppV package to allow those things to fall through to the physical file system and registry, and I'll scoop them up that way. Okay. So what about architecture and scalability? This slide was the other way around. Okay, this was first, because it was AppSense. I've got bigger deployments. Their architects, 3-tier architecture scales out. RES didn't have that. They do now, so this is kind of more for information. Okay. So what I got here from an architecture point of view, I've got this thing. Yeah. So databases, our management server, we've got personalization server. I haven't put application manager or performance manager on here. The same architecture. So I have some databases, and then I have some, one or more management servers or personalization servers or application management servers, performance management servers. Okay, they're based on IIS, so I can chuck a load of load balancers in front if I want. Whether that's NetScaler, load balancing, whatever. My clients talk over HTTP, HTTPS, and get all my configuration and all the rest of it. From a branch office perspective, I can leave that as, all my requests can go over HTTP or HTTPS, or I can deploy additional servers out of remote sites with their own personalization server potentially. And if I want to scale really big and have clients potentially over here coming into the app sessions or whatever over here, I can deploy something like SQL replication. Fairly straightforward. RES, again, a lot simpler. And this is an old infrastructure, so my clients here, bearing in mind everything's persisted out to a file share in Workspace Manager. Okay, my clients are reading and writing to the file systems here. Okay, so here is where my file data, so things within my user profile, things like output signatures, all that kind of stuff live here. Okay, along with my archive registry settings. And my clients used to talk directly to the database and download their configuration. Okay. From a branch office perspective, I could leave them over there, but now, obviously I'm traversing a WAN, etc. to go over here. What I could do is I could have deployed SQL replication here. Obviously, what do I do in my file systems? Well, I could use something like DFS to replicate that, or use any other replication technologies. However, in Workspace Manager 2012, which ironically came out, I think 3 days after I did the last presentation, I now have the notion I can put relay servers in. So here's my middle tier component. So the relay servers are purely there to abstract the database abstraction layer here. So I don't necessarily need to deploy SQL replication for global deployment. Okay, I can chain these as well, so all my clients for their configuration data will hit a relay server, which will then upload the log files and download my configuration. Okay. However, you still got your file systems to deal with. Okay. Is that any cleaner than AppSense? Horses for courses, I think. With AppSense, I think you've got a lot more SQL replications required if you want to persist settings across, particularly from a personalization server point of view. If I want users to be logging in various geographies, if you like, then I need to deploy SQL replication. That used to be the case, but the relay server solves that. So does it make it any less scalable? No. AppSense have got documented deployments of like 100,000 agents, you know, in a kind of a global deployment. RES is around about, documented is around about 50, 60,000. So again, they're both pretty scalable. The architectures are slightly different, they're a lot closer now. This one's dear to my heart. Application security. How many AppSense customers in the room? How many RES customers in the room? Sorry, RES customers in the room. Okay. Application security. So user rights management is a lot stronger in AppSense. Okay. If you are after the ability to granularly grant users particular rights, things like installing ActiveX controls, all of those kind of things, then you get a lot more granularity and flexibility with AppSense. Okay. Workspace Manager, from an application point of view, security point of view, is a whole whitelisting mechanism. Okay. So everything, if you want to lock it down, everything's blocked, and then you've got to allow everything that you want to persist. Now, I don't know about you, but in kind of large enterprise environments, that can be a lot of work. Okay. Actually, in AppSense documentation, they offer a whitelisting support as well. And they do state that this is the most secure solution. However, it's the most administrative overhead that there possibly could be. So every kind of application, DLL, you know, executable needs to be authorized. With AppSense, you have the ability to leverage a trusted ownership kind of model. So if you have a trusted account that you can install, it's automatically whitelisted. There's a whole load of web installers and things that you can put in, trusted publishers, all that kind of stuff. Workspace Manager is catching up, okay? But if you are after security features and security features alone, then you'd probably go with AppSense, okay? You wouldn't necessarily go with RES. There are other reasons why you might go with RES, or you might not, okay? So, one of the other complaints that I get from, well, not complaints, but huge differences between the two products is this whole AppSense have the notion of conditions and triggers, yeah, and actions, and RES have the notions of applications. Okay, so from an RES perspective, everything we do is configured behind an application. We define an application, we define all of the security rules, all of the actions. So the fact that we want to map drives, printers, configure registry settings, apply policies, okay, they're all done behind one application. Whereas AppSense, it's all about basing it on triggers, conditions, and actions. Okay, so it's if I'm in a particular group, for instance' sake, then there's my condition. You know, my trigger can be if I'm in this group and I'm on a terminal server, or you know, it's a log on, it's a refresh. You know, I've locked my session, I'm disconnecting. Then I can perform an action, and that action may be map a drive, apply a registry setting. Okay. Whereas from an RES perspective, and again, it's a lot easier if I show the console, although we haven't got enough time. You know, it's all behind an app. We deliver the icon, we secure it at the application level, okay? Which then leads us on to this one console or four. Okay. So from an RES perspective, Workspace Manager is one console. Okay. I configure all my security settings, all of my policies that I'm applying. Okay. All of my access control. Okay. It's all behind one application. I have one place to go. Okay. With AppSense, I have potentially 4 different consoles. It's probably a bit fair, it's probably more like 3. There are 4 consoles, but we're talking more around the whole performance management. So I want to change my performance management config, I want to change my personalization and policy configuration. Or I want to apply my security, my application security rules. I've got to do it in different places. Okay? A good example is if I want to secure access to an application, within Workspace Manager, I change the access control behind the application and the user doesn't get access to it. Okay? With AppSense, if I wanted to apply a registry policy when a user launches that application or deliver the shortcut icon, I do that within Environment Manager. But if I want to secure who has access to it, I've got to go into Application Manager console and configure it out. Okay? So, kind of, 1 console or 3, and that, a result of that is user insight. And this is where I think RES has got AppSense big. So the fact that all of my configurations and policies and everything are applied behind one application in one console, I can see all the application events, I can see exactly what's applied to the user, where and when and why. Okay, got a whole load of auditing information that's available to me. Okay. Whereas within the AppSense console, it's potentially in 3 different places. Okay. And the help desk love this feature. From a diagnostics point of view, trying to work out what's going on and what's going on, this is it. Last real point, because I'm running out of time here, is performance management. Again, application security, performance management, AppSense, hands down. Okay. Performance management within RES is all around just kind of changing the process priorities. So if a given process consumes, over a percentage of CPU, then we'll flip the process priority, which is fine if the box isn't oversubscribed, because if you've got long running processes or whatever, then they'll continue to use 100% CPU if that resource is available on the server. Okay. However, from an AppSense perspective, I have the ability to throttle the amount of CPU, disk IOPS, memory management that can be applied on a very granular basis. Okay. And again, I wouldn't buy Workspace Manager probably, and it's Performance Manager. It comes as part of the solution. Okay. But we're going back to AppSense's roots here. Application management, performance management, something they've been doing for over 10 years. Okay. So, I think the whole takeaway from this is they're just tools. Actually, to implement the AppSense solutions or the RES solutions, it's not about the tools. Obviously, you need to understand how they work, but actually you need to understand how your applications work, how user profiles work, potentially, how and when to apply things, what needs to be captured or not captured or excluded or applied to users and when. Okay? They are both equally capable. They are stronger in some areas, which I've kind of highlighted. But at the end of the day, forward at all, still forward. Yeah? Some of you might know Anna. Is that, I like that phrase, These are tools, you put them in the wrong hands. I've seen boxed AppSense installs, I've seen boxed Res installs. Okay? If you get them wrong, who do you impact? The users, and they're not happy. Not at all. Okay. So any questions? No? Helpful, not helpful? Cleared a few things up? A bit more cloudy now.
What do you think about PS Tool?
PS Tool, I think PS Tool's great. But again, it's that whole policy configuration, primarily. From a whole UEM perspective, there's none of the security, there's some performance stuff in there. But over time, who knows what's going to happen. He's made huge leaps from V1 to V2.
VUM.
VUM or VUM.
Yeah. Ghost.
Yeah. North scale as they're now known. Yeah. So, and again, Liquidware made huge advances with their application deployment and stuff. I mean, there's a whole raft of things that we could have talked about. I'll put this slide in just in case I run out of time.
You did. That's good.
Yeah. This one.
You can buy us beers in the bar afterwards.
Yeah. So, only if you don't ask any questions about user installed apps. That's a hot topic.
I've actually got a project that's in Strata's in getting put in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is it Strata or is it going to use something else? Must it be Strata? The problem with Strata is it's not sort of supported, is it?
You're going to ring Ron Oglesby.
This is a hot topic. I mean, you could argue, do you need to allow user installed apps? If users need to do it for business, then it's that whole, you could talk for days on that.
No, I don't think you could. I think it's quite simple. Yes, they are. Move on.
There you go. Strata it is then, Jim.
My difficulty with Strata is, when it came out, an excellent product, nicely featured, works, links in well with other apps and stuff. So in theory, it delivers. But they haven't licensed it for business. And businesses might not like that. Here's a core function that you're putting out because users want that. And as you've said throughout the whole thing, it's all about the users, isn't it? It's not about making your life easier, it's about making their lives easier. Because there's 3,000 of them or 5,000 of them, and there's one of you. Yeah? So user installed apps is useful because sometimes they need something different. No one wants a standard bill, no one wants Office, they need some other bits and bobs. Strata should really deliver on that and doesn't for an enterprise level.
The biggest issue with Strata is even if it did work, it's not licensed for enterprise yet.
Yes.
So you build all your stuff in now, it's a labs product and it's free.
Yeah.
I mean, next year to be hit with a great big bill and
It's
you
$1
can't rip it
million,
out.
and you think, oh,
Yeah, well, I've asked them that, what are their plans for that, and in terms of if we start using it, are we suddenly going to get charged?
yeah, and their issue is they're too vague on that. Too vague on where that's going to fit in the enterprise.
I don't think it's...
Hopefully that's it. Yes, you're
think
too
it's
vague,
ready
I'm
yet.
saying, so I'm sorting that out.
It's not ready yet, so they can't charge for it, but it's the unknown that...
I think it should just be ready. If you wait until it's going to be 100%, you're going to wait for too long. Put it out, let people use it, then find issues. At the moment, people aren't using it because it's not enterprise available. Do you know what I mean? You're in a catch-22.
I'm not sure I believe in release quick, fix later.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing... Really? The first thing people I tested on deal is put a Dropbox inside it and it didn't work. So...
Dropbox should need to be inside it. Dropbox is a user process, a bit like Chrome.
That's what they did, right? It's a user installed app, right?
Didn't need start to that, yeah. Cool.
Sorry.
Well, thanks for your time. If you've got any questions, then come and ask me about the beer. Have a chat.